And welcome to the Death Battle Cast, the show where we basically just bullshit for an hour. I'm Ben, voice of Wiz, joined by Liam, voice of Liam and writer of Wiz, and I don't know what he's doing. Hey, Liam.
Just doing a head thing. How you doing, guys? Yeah, it's me.
Yep.
I finally
weird
have,
as usual.
have gathered the courage, as opposed to my cowardly retreat last week. The fear of being confronted with the Dio Alucard Q&A just petrified me to my core. I couldn't make it on, but I'm here now, and I'm ready to answer the questions.
Is that the narrative we're going with? Okay.
This is going to be a good episode. No, I was stuck on a plane.
Yeah.
Yep. On two different run strips.
If you saw last week's episode, you know it was a cluster. Anyway, hey, we're also joined by Billy and Josh. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Who have worked on the new season, I guess? It's a half season of Red versus Blue.
Yeah.
Red versus Blue Family Shatters.
I was about to say Death Battle, and I was like, yes.
Well, they also worked on Death Battle. But we also want to talk about Red versus Blue Family Shatters, which is amazing. In the third episode, just shattered the website.
Yeah, it's out for first members right now. Yeah, you should go check it out after this.
Right after this.
Don't leave right now, but it is good, I think.
I enjoyed it.
I did too. I wrote this one. I got to co-direct it with Noelle, which was really, really fun. I still don't really understand why, but they let me do it's called Walk and Talk. It's this homage to primarily the West Wing and Aaron Sorkin stuff, but that TV trope of walking and talking and not really going anywhere specific. But for whatever reason, they have to have these conversations on the go. And I really didn't think anybody would like it, but first members seem to be digging it, so that's a good thing. You should check it out.
That's a sign of quality production. I didn't really think anybody was going to like this, but whatever.
It's so specific. It's just so specific to stuff that I like, and I just didn't think anybody else would.
The Sork. Who thought the Sork would make it into right? Red v Blue? There you go.
Did. Yeah,
thank you.
This is the first one that, since the Family Shatters has started that has Zero in it, if I'm not mistaken. Which makes it a highlight for me. That's a big part of it. Zero was our big bad from the previous season, and now you get to see him in a more comedic,
very different environment. Yeah. Actually, for people who haven't seen any episode of Family Shatters, real quick, what's the difference between this and the previous whatever number season Red versus
18.
Blue?
Yeah.
Zero
That's
was
a good
18.
call. It's so this is a non-canonical series of shorts that are all, it's very episodic. None of them kind of connect. It's just a series of random slice of life shorts that a lot of them are based on tropes and genre homages that we love. So it's kind of like if the characters of Shatter Squad were in their own kind of sitcom, and each episode is this random homage and fun little sketch that we wrote. Non-canonical. Next season we'll pick up where we left off with Zero. And this is just our kind of in-between silly fun adventure.
RVB Twilight Zone.
Yeah. I mean, what's fun is that it's non-canonical, but it's still the kind of characters, traits, are shown there. We're getting to see more about these people when they're not punching each other in the face. So
Red versus Blue. What if?
I like that.
Basically. So definitely go check out Red versus Blue Family Shatters. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit more later on in the show. We have a lot to cover today. So, couple things. One, we will be getting to the Dio versus Alucard Q&A later on in today's cast. I know we have plenty of questions to cover. Actually, not as many as I think we were expecting.
I was surprised.
But we got some questions to cover. We also are going to have a teaser for the upcoming episode, Akuma versus Shao Khan. That episode, Death Battle's airing next week. And I'm very excited to share that with you guys. So stay tuned for a little sneak peek of that.
It's our Thanksgiving themed episode.
Yes, obviously. Break the cornucopia of fighting game bosses. But we also have a community death battle, as usual. But today's community death battle is going to be very different because we're not actually going to be doing a battle. We're going to be doing 6 battles. That's 6. All right. So here's the plan. You may have seen on the Death Battle Twitter us post about the a little matchup, a little battle royale idea that we've had for several years now at this point, right? We have talked about this matchup on Death Battle Cast before. We've talked about it on basically whenever we can. The cereal mascot battle royale, right? What happens when Toucan Sam, Captain Crunch, and the Raisin Bran Son are thrown into the arena and fight each other? So we've joked about it for years at this point, but it's the 10-year anniversary of Death Battle, so it's time to actually figure out which of these goddamn mascots is going to kill each other. So the way we're going to be doing this is going to be a multi-episode saga, because we've never done any like massive tournament like this before, and there are so many characters to cover. So we're going to start with essentially a bracket of matchups, quote unquote, to decide what the final bracket for the actual tournament is going to be.
Whoa.
Now, the Raisin Bran Son is already going to be in this bracket. We know that for a fact. We've talked about the Raisin Bran Son so much. The two scoops is the ultimate, like, one of the big questions of this matchup. Those is
black
what can
soulless eyes
with the two scoops.
Far too many raisins.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
No, not enough raisins.
Oh my God. It's too much.
I genuinely wish they just gave me that instead. Like, what's the brand shit? Just scoop the raisins right into my gullet. I love raisins. I also love candy corn. I'm gonna get some later this week because I didn't get to have any on Halloween.
Ooh, yeah, sale prices.
Yeah, dude.
But so essentially we are going to have an 8-seat bracket. 8 characters are going to be thrown into this tournament, but there are way more cereal mascots. So based on the responses we got from you guys on Twitter, we have picked out 12 other mascots outside of the Raisin Bran Son, and we're going to talk about each of them and see which ones you guys want in on this tournament. Now, I know that's going to mean we're going to have 6 of these in the final tournament, plus the Raisin Bran Son, which means there's going to be an extra seat, the 8th seat, which will go to one of these characters who loses. So if your character loses the matchup or whatever we're going to be doing here, don't worry, there's still a chance that it can get into the tournament as a whole. So let's go ahead and start with Captain Crunch versus Toucan Sam. Ooh. We're doing this, guys. So this is not necessarily like who would win in a matchup per se.
Yeah.
I mean, you could treat it that way. That's totally fine. But this is at its core, which of these 2 characters do you want to see in the tournament? And we have a poll up. If you're watching this live on the chat, if you're watching this on mobile, you can vote Captain Crunch with #1, Toucan Sam with #2. And whichever one wins your poll, only you guys get to decide this. Whichever one wins the poll gets into the bracket for the full tournament that's going to be happening in future episodes of Death Battle Cast. So, Captain Crunch and Toucan Sam. Which of these guys do you think should get into this tournament?
I mean, how could it be anything but Captain Crunch?
Yeah, it's going to be Captain.
All his time on the high seas, he destroys the roof of your mouth. Toucan Sam's grown soft, raising his nephews. He's got nothing.
Captain Crunch is captain of multiple cereals. He's got more responsibilities. He's got more experience, supposedly.
And I really don't think of Toucan Sam as like a combatant. I see him as a bird, a bird of paradise. I like his nose and I like his voice, but the captain is a military officer who has doubtlessly murdered in his life and fought tooth and nail, sword and ship and crunch. Plus, I mean, the crunchitize thing is just an like how is that gonna how would that work against the sun? I just think it opens up a lot of possibilities. I don't really like Toucan Sam. I like Fruit Loops. I mean, I don't like Fruit Loops, but I like Fruit Loops. In the sense
like the concept of Fruit Loops.
I respect that they exist.
Yeah.
Respect that they exist.
But
It's
I gotta
for
go with the
somebody
Captain.
else.
Well, it's like
But I do think I prefer Captain Crunch over Fruit Loops.
Totally.
It's marginal, right? Like I think they're both kind of garbage. But
if you want fruit, you can get the crunch berries. You got the fruit in there.
exactly,
with the Captain.
exactly. You got options, and Fruit Loops are just very simple. Fruit Loops is what I'd have when I'd go over to my friend's house and stay the night, and then in the morning they'd serve Fruit Loops, and I'd be like, "What is this nonsense?" Where's the full course American breakfast? No, we got fucking Fruit Loops.
Do we think there's a reason though that he hasn't been promoted after all these years? Like something that's
he's
keeping
independent.
I think he's
right?
like
He went off on his own.
like Garp.
He
from
named
One
himself
Piece,
Captain, is what you're saying.
where
Ben.
he just refuses to be upgraded because it's just bureaucratic bullshit.
Sure.
Above that, this is where he gets to fight. This is where he gets to feel
I
alive.
won't be stuck behind a desk. No,
Yeah,
sir.
he gets his men. He gets his ship. Yeah.
I don't know
This-
if Captain
this isn't
Crunch
politics.
is actually part of the military. He might just be a captain of a ship, which doesn't need to be part of the military. You can just own a
don't
ship
argue
and you
with me.
captain it.
a crazy guy who's calling himself Captain.
This is gold material.
He's also not
That's
even
even
a
better.
captain. He's not officially a captain. He's officially a captain. CAP.
Yeah, that's where it
gets you for
that's a
legal
difference.
reasons. There's an apostrophe.
Legal
Obviously,
loophole.
he's obviously killed the captain though, because he's wearing a captain's uniform.
That's true.
Like,
He's got a
it from
captain's uniform
someplace.
somehow.
Yeah.
Like
He
a
has
pirate hat.
dark magic. Like he can
Yeah,
crunchitize.
I will say on the Captain's side, I think of all the characters, we've talked about Captain Crunch as like a combatant for this before, and he seems to be one of the best shots at actually potentially like matching the Raisin Bran Sun's 2 scoops.
Yes.
There's definitely a question of whether or not the Captain can crunchitize the sun, and it will be interesting to go through this if he makes it and see
what
if
is
he can
the-
crunchitize, I don't know, Lucky or the Crazy Squares or whatever. Like, who can resist the crunchitize ray or whatever it might be. As for Toucan Sam, I don't really know. He's just,
he's got aerial advantage, but the captain also has a ship full of, I assume,
True.
cannons.
Oh, that's
And
true.
the ship can fly too, can it? I feel like it has.
Yes, it can. I was about to say the Toucan would have flight advantage over most of these people, but I think a lot of them are going to be able to just float around.
Yeah.
Well,
They're all
all right.
pretty powerful.
Sorry, Sam.
Go ahead
Play
and
it
put in
again,
your votes.
Sam.
Let's go ahead and lock up the poll because we are going to have to get through these pretty quick if we're going to get to all 6, as well as a Q&A,
That's
as well as whatever the hell else we're going to be talking about.
2 scoops of content this morning.
So let's go ahead and bring up those results whenever you got
Fuck,
those, Brian.
my jaw went on.
Thanks for
like
voting.
a snake.
Nice.
For those fucking raisins.
I think that's the way to go.
those
done.
raisin scoops.
And Captain Crunch is the first one
did
to
it.
join to enter the bracket for the
Yes.
cereal
Congratulations,
Battle
Captain.
Royale. Congratulations to the captain. And yes, I saw a Gaming News guy in the chat mention like, I wonder if they're going to do this for the Disney Princess Battle Royale later on. I think that would be great.
Interesting.
This is
Interesting. That is.
this is sort of a test in a way to see how this goes.
Oh my god! Eventually, for like the last, like the episode before Wiz versus Boomstick, we should do the serial mascots versus like serial killers, and have like classic horror serial killers versus the serial mascots.
That's a range
Like,
of
who
emotions
would-
on your face.
That's
Ben.
a great idea, Liam. Good job, buddy. Yes.
Real quick break for our sponsor, ExpressVPN. If you're going online without ExpressVPN, you may as well be carrying the newest smartphone without a protective case. Most of the time, you're probably okay, but all it takes is one slip and you'll wish you'd been protected. It's the same with your digital data. Anytime you connect to an unencrypted network, your online data is not secured. Any hacker on that network can gain access to your personal data, steal it, and sell it. And your data is valuable. A hacker can make $1,000 per person selling your data, but ExpressVPN sends you through an encrypted tunnel so your data stays secure. It would take a hacker with a supercomputer 1 billion years to get past their encryption. And with all the protection it gives you, ExpressVPN is incredibly easy to use. You just open it up, press a button, and that's it. And real talk, I've used a bunch of different VPNs over the years, and ExpressVPN is my favorite. It's, like I said, really easy to use. It's got all sorts of global options, and what I think is the most important is its connection is really reliable. I highly recommend it if you're looking for a VPN, and if you don't have one, I think you definitely should check this one out. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/dbc. That's expressvpn.com/DBC. And you can get an extra 3 months free. expressvpn.com/DBC. All right, back to the crazy show.
Yes. Yes, so smart.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the second one, which is going to be Sunny, the cuckoo bird, Cocoa Puffs, versus the Crazy Squares. Thanks for marking that out, Brian. We got one winner. So we're going down the list. So Sunny, the cuckoo bird, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, versus the Crazy Squares.
So here's
Cinnamon
the thing.
Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I feel, of all these listed, easily the best. Easily the best. I would honestly say no contest. Cereal. Yeah, in terms of quality. Like, I would eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch today, even. But who gives a shit about the Crazy Squares? It's all about that coked up cocoa bird. Like, that dude is fucked up. I don't even know if he has any powers, but he would, like, gnaw the face off of one of these guys if he got the chance.
You definitely feel he's got Toon energy, right?
The cocoa bird guy. Yeah, whatever the fuck.
The cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
I don't fucking know.
I mean, he's crazy, and he like darts around, and I'm sure there's a light speed feed there somewhere.
Cocoa Puffs might even be like a close second.
They're very good.
To Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Yeah.
I'm trying to think about what do the squares do?
The squares eat each other.
Yeah, there'd only be one Crazy Square in this fight.
See, okay,
that's chaos.
Here's the thing. There is one commercial where a Crazy Square eats itself. Yeah. Even as there is all that is left is a mouth, it is still able to somehow bend reality to its own will to devour its own self into its non-existent stomach.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Being able to bend reality
kind of kills itself.
Yeah. It is eating itself, so arguably it's not gonna like turn that reality warping power against the Raisin Bran Sun or Captain Crunch.
I want to know what did the Crazy Squares do with the bakers that used to be there? Like, is that why they're no longer there? They were devoured by the Crazy Squares? If that's the case, they've got an edge that we don't know about.
Oh my god.
You know, in the commercials, it's always just the squares. Like, it's always like an empty bowl, and it's the squares, and like some of them start out like showing the bowl and the cereal and whatnot, and there's no people in the commercials. No human beings in those commercials.
It used to be 3 people. Then it was 1. Now it's 0.
Somebody poured that cereal, and they are no longer there. All that is left are little bits of cereal that seem to devour anything around them. You can put the pieces together.
I think I found the most 90s thing I've ever seen, and I posted the image in the Discord.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Why is he a skater? What does it matter? What is that?
I mean, everyone was a skater in that era. All he's missing is the guitar. He needs a guitar too. That's
absolutely he needs a guitar.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Cuckoo Bird has been around for a while. He's been through those.
Sunny, right? Sunny is
Sunny, the Cuckoo Bird. Like, he's been through those.
Yeah.
Evolutions.
Radical.
So
all right.
If he makes it through, Toucan Sam's gonna be pissed.
Yeah. oh, Sunny would fucking like eat Toucan Sam for breakfast.
Yeah.
Like a cereal.
He'd, like, devour him. Yeah, he'd like envision him as a Cocoa Puff and then like feast on his organs. You'd just see like Cocoa Puffs raining out of Toucan Sam's like bifurcated body. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
On that graphic note, go ahead and get your votes in. I mean, for Sunny or Crazy Squares. Who do you want to see in the tournament?
Guys, come on, easy.
I mean, if his opponent could plan, which the Squares can't, you could take advantage of the fact that you can distract him with Cocoa Puffs.
That's true.
But he's fighting another cereal mascot that's maddened by itself, so...
The Squares are very instinctive. They are like rabid monsters.
They are the id. In a weird way, Sunny is also somewhat id, too, but I think that they're the true embodiment of id.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hence the matchup, I guess. The embodiment of serial id. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up that poll and see which one wins. Oh my god, thank you to everybody who's voting for whatever the hell we're doing here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a close matchup, but Sunny wins with 59%.
It's because Cinnamon Toast Crunch is the best out of all of these.
It's so
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is pretty good in comparison.
Yeah. And seeing those things running around in a fight would be very entertaining.
Yeah. Of course, if you guys want to see the Crazy Squares make it, there is still going to be that 8th open spot after all this is said and done. So you can let us know on Twitter.
Oh, it's like an anime arc. Like the protagonist gets knocked out and he's like the wild card. Yeah.
Yes, this is the first episode of the Death Battle Tournament arc. Serial matchup, whatever we're going to call it.
Get the crazy squares to the healing chamber, quick.
All right, one more before we move on to the Q&A and the teaser, or the sneak peek for Akuma Shao Khan. Let's go ahead and talk about Lucky the Leprechaun versus Buzzbee.
This one's easy. This one's like, here, okay. Lucky Charms, arguably the worst cereal out of all of these on here. I think it's inedible. I think it's actually inedible. I wouldn't give it to my worst enemy.
There's a lot of cardboard going on.
Really?
There.
It's Lucky. It's got to be Lucky. The bee, no, it's got to be.
It's like both these guys are cool. Like I don't dislike either mascot.
Yeah, no.
Like the Buzzbee seems like a pretty chill bee.
That's the thing. That's the thing I have about the bee. It's like the bee is like your mom's mascot. Like it's so tame, so chill. Like all he's doing is pouring honey on Cheerios, making them edible.
Here's the thing about Buzzbee. Looking at his commercials, the way those always turn out is, or they typically turn out, is Buzzbee is thrown into a situation, or somebody is thrown into a situation that is dire. Like I was looking at one where some mobsters were going to kill this guy by throwing him out a window. Yes, in a cereal commercial.
What?
And then Buzzbee, I believe it was Buzzbee, shows up and is like, hey, you guys should look in his cupboard. And inside the cupboard is the Honey Nut Cheerios. The gangsters eat the Honey Nut Cheerios, and all of a sudden they are like mind controlled to be friendly to the guy that they were going to throw out the window. Buzzbee has mind control powers through the consumption of his cereal.
That is
right, but they have to
wild.
Consume his cereal. And Lucky,
Buzbee's a little guy; he can fly around and throw Cheerios.
All of his different all the marshmallows. Those are all different powers. He has tons of magic. He can create like trains and UFOs and rockets, and he can travel backwards in time and through space. He has like he can teleport. I'm just like
his powers located
the DeviantArt. He can go backwards in time. He can turn invisible.
Real quick,
he can bright flash a light. I guess.
I want to point this out before I lose
to life with the heart one. Yeah.
I want to point this out before I lose the line. Red-headed agent in the chat mentions, I remember there being a commercial where Buzzbee grew buff in a commercial when I was a kid. No one's going to want a super buff bee coming after them, no matter who they are.
I think that's
true. I think is pretty true.
Yeah. Are Lucky's powers located in his cereal? Because he's very, very protective of it. Seems like once that's out of his control.
Yeah, each one of the marshmallows is like a different power that he has. Yeah. Like there's the shooting star one that can, fly across space. There's the power of luck, which is just not really clear what.
If the bee stings the sun, then it's gone too. I mean, right? That still applies.
The bee dies.
Josh is thinking ahead.
That's over.
Oh right.
Well, no. So here's the thing.
Here's the thing about like a kamikaze move. Like super.
Here's what I've learned.
Characters. He'd be like
bees. Apparently, bees only die when they. Sorry, Liam, I keep stepping on you.
Go on, please.
Bees only die when they sting humans. Apparently, our flesh is such that the stinger gets caught in us. But like other insects and shit, they sting them no problem.
Wow!
It's a sun. It's a giant ball of burning plasma. It's like a.
That'll probably kill a bee.
That'll be fine.
Yeah.
Also,
but
in this
has
situation,
physical hands, Liam, that hold.
Yeah, manifested by plasma is matter. Plasma is matter. Which means the fourth state of matter.
You could sting those hands and poison the hands and kill the sun that way.
There's no capillaries by which the poison would travel. It is burning gas.
What if he can infuse the sun with honey? Then he's got an in on the sun.
You need someone like Lucky with reality warping magical powers, the powers of a death god imp, in order to fight.
A couple people in the chat are saying Lucky Charms is a Loki commercial. Loki's been in a Lucky Charms commercial. Well. Okay, lots of good points for old Lucky Charms.
I do think Liam's got a lot of points on Lucky. His big thing is he's not very lucky about protecting his cereal.
Our own researcher DJ mentions Lucky was at one point a Green Lantern.
What?
Well, DC Herald scaling. Fuck.
All right, get those votes in. We'll wrap up this poll so we can move on to the Q&A and the sneak peek of the upcoming matchup. let's go ahead and get that wrapped up. See who wins between Lucky and Busby.
No idea where this is gonna go.
I don't either.
Oh!
Lucky, wow.
Poor
Busby
Busby.
gets crushed.
Sorry, buddy.
Lucky wins with 85%. Wow,
Sorry,
okay.
Buzz Lightyear.
We have 4 of the 8 seats in our bracket filled up. We got the Raisin Bran Sun, Captain Crunch, Sunny the Cuckoo Bird, and Lucky the Leprechaun. We will fill out the rest of them, except for the 8th one, in just a little bit. But first, let's talk about what's going on. We are moving through this episode fast because there's so much to cover. So,
moving on to
screw it. Before we get to the Q&A, I think we could just go ahead and show off the teaser for the upcoming Death Battle, right? Let's go ahead and show off the sneak peek for Akuma versus Shao Khan.
Die 1,000 deaths! You dare interrupt my tournament. Another fool seeking my throne. I only seek your life. Go Hadouken!
Shin Megami Tensei is the newest installment of the acclaimed JRPG series developed by Atlus. You'll play as a young high school student who's granted an accursed power to save his life. He becomes a new being that's neither human nor demon, a Nihobino, and is suddenly transported from modern Tokyo to a post-apocalyptic world. You'll explore the demon-infested wasteland of an enigmatic realm that's filled with mythical deities and demonic tyrants in constant conflict for survival. Search for answers and forge your own path in a battle between light and dark, and your choices will dictate the fate of the world. Turn formidable foes into worthy allies by recruiting them via negotiations, then fuse them to create demons customized to fit your playstyle. Shin Megami Tensei 5 has been fully rendered in 3D utilizing Unreal Engine 4, a first for the mainline Shin Megami Tensei series. Pre-order the deluxe and standard editions of Shin Megami Tensei 5 today on the Nintendo eShop.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah, I think you guys are gonna like this episode when it airs next week. Yeah, even have that opening with Akuma obliterating someone. There's just like a smoking corpse at the beginning as a reference
probably
to
like a Baraka or something.
Yeah, probably a reference to how he interrupts M. Bison's tournament in Street Fighter 2, doing it to Shao Khan. So I really like that little touch. Lousy introduced. Yeah. Really fun episode. Hope you guys enjoy it. It is coming out November 7th for first members, November 8th for on YouTube. I wasn't sure if I remembered the dates. And then, the stream on my other monitor caught up right as I was about to say the dates. I was like, hey, there they are. Perfect.
Love it.
All right. It's going to be a fun episode. I'm really excited for it. Okay. But we also have last week's episode. Week's episode time. It's weird to cover. So if you have not seen Dio versus Alucard, fair warning, we are going to get into some spoilers here. But we have some questions regarding the victor and the research and whatnot that we are going to get to. Liam, I hope you're ready, being the director
my
of the
body
episode.
is ready.
All right, you had a whole week extra to prepare for this, so
Yeah.
All right,
My
Liam,
brain is, this is the last time I have to think about Dio Alucard questions.
how was Silver Chariot calculated to 1,500 times light speed?
Yes, it was a huge thing that I saw a lot. Some people were like, oh, well, I buy that it being faster than light, but 1,500 times faster than light, that's crazy. Yeah, I know the number seems crazy, but be aware, like, if you watch the episode again, all of the math for that is on screen, so you can check for yourself. The reason it's so high is because of the distance that Silver Chariot sword swings relative to the light beam. So there's a big kerfuffle about like whether or not that feat like counts as an actual feat. There are tons of lightspeed feats in JoJo and statements in guidebooks about that. It's one of the clearest things that you have for like a verse where you don't have to rely on just like, oh, somebody said their lightspeed. No, actually, somebody said that their lightspeed. Koichi in part 4 says that Star Platinum says Red Hot Chili Peppers is moves at the speed of light, and only Jotaro would be able to keep up with something that fast.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers move at the speed of light, man.
Yes,
that's interesting. I didn't know that. I'll have to listen to their music again and see if it changes everything.
Southern California sound.
Among other things, Joseph intercepts a beam of light, like literal sunlight. Silver Chariot later deflects beams of sunlight. Cars, a beam of light from a UV, like a big, like what's it called? A flashlight is fired, and he raises. It's coming at his face. That's one panel. And the next panel is he raises his hand to block it. So obviously has to be at least relative to light speed. If you calc it out, it's faster than light. With Silver Chariot, the reason is because the light beam essentially it's a lot like easier to visualize in the anime, but it's the same in the manga, and the calculation is from the manga. But for the sake of visualizing, you can check the anime. The light beam rockets towards the coin, essentially stops, like in slow motion stops. Silver Chariot races up, gets there while it's still essentially not moving, raises the sword and cuts. And just from the angle in the manga, it looked like about 180 degrees, which is a lot. And its sword, the measurement was to the tip of the sword. So we get the distance is the arm plus then the sword length versus like it's like the light beam is like this close to the coin. So yeah, it's going to be a really significant distance. And the distance happened to be 1,500 times greater, which means that because it's relative, we know the speed of light is constant. It's 1,500 times faster than light. It happened in the same time frame. I know that there's like some like confusion about, oh no, Polnareff said that he needed to know its trajectory in order to be able to hit it. He needed to know its trajectory because it was dancing around people's eyes. It bounces off of reflected surfaces at the speed of light. It wasn't that it was too fast. We see that he literally caught up to it and caught it. He needed to know its trajectory to know where to send Silver Chariot because it's an invisible beam of light. Earlier on, when there's only 2 reflective surfaces near him, he actually does turn and see where the Hanged Man is moving as a beam of light. Like he follows it earlier in the scene. It's near the car crash, if I recall correctly. So yeah, no, 1,500 times speed of light is just mathing it out. Distance V equals D over T. You can be more conservative with that estimate if you want to be. Like assume that he swung it at a smaller angle. Or measure its arm speed instead of the tip of the sword. But considering the fact that Star Platinum fought Silver Chariot, like the scaling comes from that scene where they fought. Well, Silver Chariot had its speed enhanced at the time by Anubis, like it was moving extra fast, and then it removed its armor, which makes it move even faster than that, and Star Platinum was still able to keep up. So it frankly, with that, it would make more sense to not be conservative with that kind of estimate, because we're not accounting for those jumps in speed as well. I know that to you guys that don't know JoJo as well, that sounded like complete gibberish soup. But there you go. Hope that answers.
Welcome to Death Battle. That's kind of how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, that's the end.
Well, so why couldn't Alucard outlast Dio until the sun came up, Liam?
Huh? Why not?
Why not, Liam? You fuck. This was one that Ben, we also talked about during the call a little bit. So there's a couple of things. Alucard doesn't know that Dio has a weakness to sunlight. Alucard doesn't have weakness to sunlight. He just says he really hates it. So he would never think to exploit that weakness by like waiting Dio out until the sun came up, which I think a lot of people assume that he would, but he wouldn't know that. Second, if Dio saw the sun coming up, he would just leave. Like the sun doesn't come up instantly. It's not a thing that just teleports at like into like the 8 a.m. position. It comes up slowly. Light starts to slowly come across the horizon.
I'm sorry. Are we explaining how the sunrise works?
Because the Dio, like once he saw that the sky was getting brighter, he would just go hide. Like he'd go hide in a building, or at worst, he would like start punching the ground and start digging, like Jotaro did with Star Platinum in their fight against the sun, which was a stand. And Wheel of Fortune. But it's kind of like, at that point, it's like, why are we even really talking about that? It's not, the point is that it's the reason it wasn't a factor is because it's not Alucard doing anything. It's not Alucard winning the fight. It's the sun killing Dio. Dio needs to kill Alucard, and Alucard needs to kill Dio. It can't be like this random environmental factor that just happens to happen that decides the fight. It's not
that also presents a question of like, when does the fight start? Does it start at 2 hours till dawn, at dusk? Like suddenly that becomes a factor. And
what if the fight takes place in? I mean, for the sake of argument, we've said before that like we kind of like generally assume that the fight takes place in like a neutral like room of spirit and time kind of sense for the sake of analysis. It's the point is that it's not really where environment would play a factor, and there of course are exceptions, right? Like Batman, like that environment becomes kind of an important question when you're talking about Batman. But like for this, it's just sort of it's like no, if the argument relies on the sun killing Dio, then it's relying on Alucard not being able to. Otherwise, he would, right? Mm-hmm. Why would you need it? Why would the sun need to be brought up?
And when you say Batman uses environment as an exception, that's less of an exception, more like that's just part of his arsenal.
Yes,
it's him taking advantage of
that's actually a good point.
Environments.
Yeah.
Like that's what his arsenal is built around. And if there's anything to compare that to this matchup, it would be Dio hiding from the sun.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that would be the comparison, not necessarily waiting on the sun, because that's an entirely different circumstance that is completely unrelated to the characters. The fact that Dio can hide from it means that like that would be if for whatever reason Dio was like attracted to the sun or to kill him, then that might become a factor. But
or if Alucard knew about it and could telekinetically pull the sun into position, like maybe.
Sci-Fighter on the in the chat brings up a good point, which is what if the sun has 2 scoops of raisins?
Yeah, exactly. And raisins only make Dio stronger. That's a part 1 thing.
The Raisin Bran Sun can kill Dio.
He can kill Dio. He absolutely, just by existing, Dio would go and explode into fucking dust.
Raisin Bran Sun. It's going to be really interesting to see if any of these mascots are able to beat the Raisin Bran Sun by the end of this, because it is possible that this cereal mascot tournament is going to determine the most powerful character we have ever seen. Anyway, let's move on to the next one.
Let's go. Frankly, Liam, wouldn't the limited range of Dio's stand give Alucard plenty of opportunities to take him out at a long range?
If only he had some way to close the distance without any time passing! So, yeah, the time stop essentially allows him to then close the distance. Yeah, the world physically is limited by about 10 meters effectively. That's just for physical punching. The time stop is time. Time exists throughout the universe. It goes everywhere. Araki said it extends out into space. I see no reason why to. I've seen people assume like, oh, it only stops at like a couple of city blocks. It's all we've seen. It's a time stop. It stops all of time. I don't know. Does the rest of time become desynced?
That arguing how time affects the world around them is like, and whether or not time exists, I think that's a step too far.
Wouldn't that desynchronize everyone else from time if you stop only like a bubble of time? It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, also Alucard's ranged options are a little limited. He can use telekinesis, but he generally doesn't use that in fights. He did it to like kind of show off, and we calculated it's demonstrably not powerful enough really to hurt Dio. That's why we calculated it. And the other thing is his guns. Which Dio could just immediately upon the fight starting stop time and to crush them during a time stop, and then there's no more guns. And even if they were, they're powerful guns, but they're not really powerful enough to hurt him. And the holy weaponry thing doesn't affect him. I remember seeing somebody bring up that like Anderson has a healing factor that was stopped by the Jackal, and Anderson is a priest. He's not a demon, so maybe it has some other regenerative halting factor to it. That's not. It didn't. The Jackal was designed to be so powerful that it did so much damage to Anderson that he couldn't regenerate from it. Earlier, he regenerated from like holes in his head. This blew off his arm. Anderson can't heal a blown off arm.
Severed limb.
So it didn't have any kind of hacks or anything like that. It was just too powerful for him.
An Alucard has no resistance to the time stop at all.
No resistance. Maybe he could figure it out, but he would only really be able to plan around it. And because Dio can stop time anytime he wants, and because his time stop gets longer and longer every time he uses it, any planning he does is going to be not really effective. You could only really plan against it with like Jotaro's, which was at the time like against Rat, which was like half a second long. So the enemy was able to determine it was able to guess where he'd be and what he'd be doing because he was so limited. Dio's time stop is just going to essentially implied to get just however long he wants eventually at some point. We don't know.
Hey, you know what's cool? Learning to code, because that's like how the whole world works now. And, you know, if you want to change careers, coding is a great way to do it. And the best way to learn it is codecademy.com. Let me tell you about these bad boys. Not only are they going to teach you a whole bunch of job-ready coding skills, but they're also going to help you build a unique portfolio. So that'll help, projects in your portfolio, because if you don't have those, you're probably not going to go very far. Plus, you get to earn certificates and even prep for technical interviews. Just as a person, like as a producer, I tell you, I get a lot of invoices, and I would love to just learn some code to help me ingest all that data rather than doing it manually. So it's got something for everybody out there, and you can get qualified in-demand jobs in as little as 2 months and learn at your own pace and your own level with Code Academy. So you can choose what to learn. If you want to learn how to build websites, or if you want to learn how to analyze data, you got it. No matter what your experience level is, you're going to be writing some real working code in minutes, y'all. Okay, so now how do you do this? Well, you join the millions of people learning code at codecademy.com and see where coding can take you. Get 15% off your Code Academy Pro membership when you go to codecademy.com and use the promo code CAST. That's codecademy.com and use that promo code CAST. One more time, codecademy.com with the promo code CAST. Do that. Y'all know it. You can also just click the link in the description. That's going to be way easier than typing. So do that. Okay, bye.
So, why did the fight include information for Dio from both Part 1 and Part 3?
Yes, I remember people saying, "Well, you can't. Why didn't you composite Schrodinger if you didn't composite? If you were compositing Dio from Parts 1 and 3, aren't those contradictory?" No, Dio from Part 1 and Part 3, it's the same person, literally the same person. It's just 100 years past, and he was at the bottom of the ocean, and he got a stand. That's it. He has Jonathan's body now, but it's never stated or implied that he lost his vampire powers with Jonathan's body. He uses his vampire powers in Part 3. He gains a vampire power in Part 3. It's the flesh buds. But he still sucks blood. He was able to do the Space Ripper Stingy Eyes without a body at all. So gaining a body wouldn't take that ability away. He just doesn't utilize all of his vampire powers in Part 3 because it's Part 3 and it's stand combat. And the focus of it is Dio's stand the world which can stop time. That's the narrative focus of the fight. The only thing you could maybe say like, oh, well, he doesn't have freezing because it's Jonathan's body. Again, nothing to imply that. And he never touches anybody in Part 3, like physically. He never touches Jotaro physically, which is required to initiate the freezing because it's stand combat. You fight from a distance. You fight with ghosts that are proxies for you. So there's no reason to suggest that he lost those powers. He only ever says that his healing factor on the left side of his body is slower because Jonathan's body has sort of resisted him. But he changes that at the end when he drinks Joseph's blood. Jonathan's body essentially becomes fully vampirized, fully 100%. He basically becomes Dio from Part 1 again, plus, the world, the stand. So compositing them is an example of something that you could very easily do, and it's not even really compositing. It's just Dio.
It's not really composite because he just becomes what he was before by the end of it.
It's not composite because it's the same character.
He's just regaining his powers over time.
Yeah. I think people sometimes think that parts, like the different parts of JoJo are like totally different things. No, they're just different, like
Yeah, that goes
Points
into
in
that
time.
whole like
Part 7 and 8 are different universe, but that's
like
not-
kid Goku versus adult Goku kind of thing.
Right.
Some assumptions that you're supposed to pick one or the other or whatever.
Yeah,
which
it would
is
be
not
kinda like
really
saying,
what we
like,
typically do.
Why did Goku lose the Kaioken after he got Super Saiyan? He didn't lose the Kaioken after he got Super Saiyan. He just didn't use it.
And I do want to real quick kind of skip the next question, Billy, because we covered it last episode of Cast. But if there is anything else you want to add on Schrodinger, Liam, feel free. We just don't really need to cover it in full.
No, I mean, I
kinda covered it.
I don't remember what you guys said, but like, I don't know, just basically like, it just doesn't. We say it in the episode pretty straightforward. Like, you can't have them both because the whole point of Schrodinger was not to be this cool power for Alucard. The point of it was to be a poison that kills him, that removes him from existence for 30 years. So if you recreate that scenario and composite him, that's just what's going to happen. You have to literally ignore that, like the whole point of Schrodinger. The whole him getting super cool like quantum powers at the end is like a neat twist and bonus. The whole point of it is that it was supposed to like kill him. So you can't.
If you want to know more, if you want to know more about that, check out our previous episode.
Yeah, and it wouldn't matter.
Our so-called compositing rules that don't actually exist, that people tend to like overgeneralize.
Yeah.
Does not allow us to give Alucard a power that does not fit with his other powers. That literally contradicts his other powers. It just doesn't work that way. And then last question.
Yeah, Liam, was this your favorite episode ever?
Oh, I'll be honest. Like, I the way working with it for so long, working on it, it just kind of like makes you like. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a good episode. Let's storm out pretty well. And then I saw people's responses to it, and I kind of recontextualized. I was like, wait, yeah, this is dope. Wait, we knocked it out of the park.
Oh, this is gonna be an okay episode. This is like
no,
a
I didn't think it
passion
would be like
project.
just okay, but I was like, yeah, I'm really happy with this. And then I was like, no, wait, this is like super like amazing. I've just been kind of desensitized to what makes it really cool because
you live with it. Yeah, for so long.
Yeah.
For those who don't
like,
know, this has been Liam's passion project. He's been wanting to do this episode for a very long time.
Yeah.
So, yes.
I was like,
this
right, the
is his
clock
favorite
fight
episode.
isn't just some like thing that I came up with. It's actually really cool. Like, people liked it, stuff like that. And
you got
I
real
thought the
excited
analyses
when
were really good too. I was really happy with how they turned out.
I remember when we were going over the look of the clock fight area, and you just got super excited during when Christina was showing off the lighting and stuff. That was very, very fun.
When she changed it from like Blue City to Red City, and I was like, yeah! It was so cool. Red City was great.
People in the chat asking about composites. If you don't understand our composite rules, I don't know what to tell you. We've talked about it a million times. Just look at the end of the episodes. It explains it. It's not a complete composite, guys.
No,
it's just us. It's just us taking a main source and then using everything else as possible extra information, not confirmed information. Anyway,
stuff that makes sense. Like, is the Joker from Batman the Animated Series, like, can you use feats from him? Yes, it's still the Joker. There's not a big difference between him and the comics. It's a dude with clown makeup that has weapons and shit. Using Emperor Joker from the comics where he gets Mr. Mxyzptlk's powers. No, it's not what the Joker usually is. You'd have to specify that we're using our story arc where he became God. Like, yeah. So it's just stuff like that. It's just not contradictory stuff. Stuff that makes sense. It's kind of a common sense. I don't know, common sense.
Common sense rule is a good way to put it.
I've always
it's not complicated. I feel like a lot of people try to overcomplicate it or overgeneralize it.
Yeah. There are some instances where it's tough, right? There are some instances where we've like, oh, does this count? And we talk about it, we discuss it, but for the most part, I don't know. We didn't use Dio over Heaven, for instance. We didn't use George Joestar Dio. Holy fuck! I would have loved to do that, but that would have been dumb as hell. I don't want to do that just purely to talk about George Joestar in the world of Heaven. But no, hell no, it's not Dio. It's not him anymore.
I think that covers everything. We can go ahead and get back to our community death battle.
Yes.
All right, if you're watching this live and you're just tuning in, we are figuring out the tournament bracket for an upcoming multi-episode tournament of serial mascots. We are now on Tony the Tiger versus Crazy Craving. If you don't know who Crazy Craving is, he's the weird Tasmanian devil-looking guy, I guess. That's like
big bug eyes.
honeycomb. He hypnotizes people to be obsessed with honeycomb.
Oh my god!
right?
I had locked this away in my memory cellar.
He's
oh,
crazy.
No,
Yeah, that's the thing. Right?
No.
People become him, don't they?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Well, it's kind of like the mask, right? Like you'd have like a mask scenario where like a random person becomes Crazy Craving.
You can go ahead and vote in the chat real quick. You can go ahead and vote in the chat, or if you're on mobile, Tony Tiger is #1, Crazy Craving #2. This is not necessarily which one would win in a fight. This is which one you want to see in the tournament.
Yeah. I would honestly, obviously Tony the Tiger is going to win the chat vote. And I guess that is fair. Makes sense. He's more iconic.
Yeah.
I would honestly pick Crazy Craving personally. I had a fucking nightmare about Crazy Craving when I was a child. That thing was terrifying. I would just, and it's such a bold, it's kind of like this is the weird one. This is the weird one that we're including. You know, like I just think what an off the wall, very 90s, you know, like Crazy Craving maybe was earlier than the 90s, but I only think of him as like early 2000s, like weird kind of CGI face. Tony the Tiger is cool and whatever, but Crazy Craving is a fucking monster.
Yeah.
I didn't even know his name.
I want Tony the Tiger to defeat this thing, but I don't think he can do it.
Yeah.
Even if he killed it, his face would start distorting and turn into that thing.
Yeah, what is Tony bringing into any fight against any of these other men?
Athleticism.
Yeah, a soccer ball.
If we look up Tony Tiger on versus battle wikis, for example, what happens? Does he even have a page?
Have a respect thread.
Oh, well, he doesn't have a page on versus battles, but he does have a page on Wikifur. Of course he does.
Yeah, it's a lot of like sports shit. Oh, he has some some light tune forcing. Oh, they mentioned that he's a tiger.
Death Metal, the Death Metal fanon website has.
Oh shit, he does have. He does turn into a giant. He does have tiger armor. Oh, and he goes supercharged mode.
Armor?
Kicked a soccer ball to the moon.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Okay.
Faster than. Okay. All right, so he is kind of a god.
Okay, maybe he's kind of a god.
And the weakness is this big fat tiger. Oh, he's so cute. He's gonna die. Yeah, okay, but I'm still going Crazy Craving. He's gonna be my eighth. He's gonna be my eighth pick. My special wild card.
If Tony wins this.
Yeah, Tony's gonna win this. I
feel like one of these two might be a good pick for the eighth pick. Again, there will be an open eighth spot that we'll figure out later, depending on what you guys say after this. If a character that you really want to see in the tournament loses, let us know on Twitter at Death Battle on Twitter, and we might be able to put that character in the open eighth spot afterwards. Okay, let's go ahead and close up the poll and figure out which one of these two is guaranteed a spot in the tournament.
Please, Tony.
Yeah, it's easy, Tony. Obviously.
It's probably okay. You're right. Tony crushes with 87%.
He's saved us all. Icon. Thank you, Tony, for your service.
Icon. I'm going.
I think you guys are sleepy on Crazy Craving.
Have we shown the audience this horrible thing, Brian? Like,
he's a nightmare. Truly.
Yeah. I had to look at it.
Oh no, that's different.
It's just Crazy Craving, I believe. Yeah, if you just Google Crazy Craving, you'll see it.
Yeah,
I mean,
then you'll wish you hadn't.
It is entirely possible. Yeah, that thing. It is entirely possible that people did not vote for him just because you Google him and you never want to see him again.
Horrifying. Fucking nightmares.
Yeah.
All right.
I love him.
Next matchup. We got two more to get to. We got 10 minutes, so let's
do it.
Let's get to it. What a very fast-paced episode of Cast. Snap, Crackle, and Pop versus the monster cereals, Count Chocula, Boo Berry, and Frankenberry. We're kind of wrapping these three together.
Any one of those guys could step on the Rice Krispies guys.
Yeah,
that's it.
I gotta go monsters.
If the monsters win, we'll figure out how they incorporate it into the tournament later. Maybe we'll figure out. Maybe we'll pick one of the three. We'll do like a poll on Twitter. I don't know. But either way.
But Snap, Crackle, Pop, they're a team. They're a cohesive unit. Yeah. You gotta have some. That's gotta give them some sort of advantage.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like you want Rice Krispies. I love Rice Krispies. I think they're actually not bad. But you gotta, and the Rice Krispie treats are just fantastic.
Just amazing.
I really do. I think the variety that Chocula, Boo Berry, and Frankenberry bring to the table is just the classic universal horror monster icons. I've actually never had either of those cereals. They probably are terrible, but I think that I always thought them was kind of like B tier. maybe I'm wrong, but I always thought them as kind of B tier cereals.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's fair.
I think just for the sake of the color scheme of the lineup, it's gotta be the Monster.
Like, could they even affect Boo Berry? He's a freaking ghost.
He's a ghost, right?
They're not going to do anything to him.
Let's look up a Count Chocula respect there. What can you do?
I can see the Rice Krispies guys unfurling Frankenberry, like getting a thread loose and his head falls off or something.
Real quick.
Oh boy.
Can somebody explain to me in like 30 seconds what the SCP Foundation is? Because I've seen this talked about.
It's like a
that's
horror
hilarious. Yeah.
fan wiki,
Yeah, it's like a fan wiki, like not like Lovecraftian, like we all join together and create these stories of like these like horrifying monsters, this organization that like contains them. And there's some like really like fascinating fan created entities. They're really fun. There's a video game about it too.
Control?
Yeah.
If you play Control, that's the SCP.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So Eldritch Cthulhu type entities. I Google Snap Crackle Pop. One of the first things that comes up is the fact that they are in fact the SCP Foundation, and they control and have the ability to ward off Eldritch entities just because it's SCP. So Snap Crackle and Pop can defeat Cthulhu. It's confirmed.
Yes.
I had never even heard of Fruit Brute.
I don't know if I don't believe Sam was audible on cast, but there are other monster characters. These are the main three though.
Yummy
Mummy. I've never heard of it.
All right,
I'm gonna order some.
I believe you, Sam. Though
that's your D tier cereal.
Let's have some 70s shit. Yeah.
Some D tier cereal.
Yummy
I think we gotta move on, right?
That's not what I was Googling. Yummy Mummy cereal.
Yeah, careful when you Google Yummy Mummy.
I see. Yeah, this dude is from the 70s. Anyways, go on.
Great, okay. Excellent addition to the cereal lore. All right, let's go ahead and close up the poll. See who wins between Snap, Crackle, and Pop and Count Chocula, Boo Berry, and Frankenberry, the monster cereal mascots.
Yeah, it could be anything.
Count
but
Chocula's
easy.
crew.
Sorry,
right.
sorry, Josh.
What's this underneath my shoe?
I get it.
I mean, I want to see Count Chocula in this. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
I do too. I think it'd probably be Count Chocula if I was.
All right, and we got one more left. One more seat to determine today. The Trix Rabbit versus Sugar Bear.
Trix Rabbit, easy.
Are you kidding? Have you seen Sugar Bear commercials?
I have not seen Sugar Bear commercials.
I'm just gonna smack that rabbit.
Sugar Bear
It's the
commercials.
rabbit. It's the rabbit.
So,
come on.
Trix Rabbit fails all the time at getting the cereal.
Trix Rabbit.
Sugar Bear
Takedown.
always gets the cereal.
Yes.
He is the Trix Rabbit if the Trix Rabbit was actually competent. He's also like super chill.
Trix Rabbit is lucky without powers. He's got nothing. He's got nothing going on.
What do you mean? Trix Rabbit, I'm sure.
Trix Rabbit loses everything he does.
Trix
Has
Rabbit.
his cereal stolen.
But he perseveres.
While putting this together, I looked up the first ever Trix Rabbit commercial. There's an origin story for why he's like constantly chasing after Trix. It's because in his very first appearance, he had Trix, and then a pair of asshole kids came up, stole it from him, and were like, "Silly rabbit, Trix are for kids." And then Trix is like horribly depressed for the rest of the commercial.
Legs were strong enough to leap from skyscraper to skyscraper when he was disguised as Trix Man. Fast enough to appear as a blur. Endured the intense G-forces of a centrifuge. Shape-shifting powers. Toon force powers. Burrowing.
So
still lost the kids.
Teleportation. Portal creation. Disguises. Oh, so many
Still
disguises.
lost the kids.
You'd be like the spy from TF2. Oh my god, he's got a lasso. A remote control which allows him to pause, rewind, and slow down time. The Trix Rabbit is going to fucking tear Sugar Bear's head off and wear his body as a fucking skin suit as one of his disguises.
Sugar Bear tries to get cereal from, I can't remember what her name is, the old lady. And at one point, the old lady built a rocket ship and flew to the moon to try to get away from him. And Sugar Bear bicycled his way up into space.
Congratulations. Trix would have gotten there first with his teleportation.
And he still would have lost, Liam. He never wins.
But the
his
point
power.
of this fight is not to get Trix. It's to kill.
I think it transfers.
This is where he is advantaged. He is not held back by the constraints of his character, his moral failings. He does not need to weigh himself down by the failures that have dragged him in his whole life into a pit. All he needs to focus on is killing. That's all he needs. All that matters.
I can't get my cereal, but I can kill the sun. I will do this.
Exactly. This is an emotional arc for him. He's like, I know what I have to do. I know what my life has been leading up to. It's not about tricks. It's been about murdering the sun.
Destroying this freaking sun.
Gotta do it.
This is the ultimate character arc. Trix Rabbit has had this like depressing life, horrible life for decades at this point. But we are going to give him a chance to redeem himself by killing the sun.
Yeah. Killing serial god. Yeah, just RPG protagonist. Yeah.
I feel like the Sugar Bear does everything Trix Rabbit does, but effortlessly. He looks cool doing it. I don't think that.
Oh my god! So I've seen a lot of people talking about like interesting feats and whatnot from the characters. If you guys have been looking at the chat, there's some amazing stuff. So let's go ahead and wrap up the poll for Trix Rabbit and Sugar Bear. Let's see what the final pairing ends up with in our 7th seat in the bracket.
Hey,
Trix Rabbit.
It's not even close.
Congrats, buddy.
72%.
I want to see Trix Rabbit's son now.
Vindicated.
So that means this tournament that we're gonna be doing in future Death Metal casts this year will include the Raisin Bran Son, Captain Crunch, Sonny the Cuckoo Bird, Lucky the Leprechaun, Tony the Tiger, Count Chocula and Friends, maybe, and the Trix Rabbit. There is one more seat. Let us know on Twitter at @DeathBattle who you think should fill that 8th seat.
Is it just from this listing, or can it be anybody?
Any cereal mascot. I know there's more that we didn't actually get to, so if there's one that we completely missed and you think absolutely deserves to be there, go ahead and let us know. And then we will figure that out at some point in the future before we actually do the tournament. Oh my god, that was a lot of fun, guys. I'm excited to see how this tournament turns out, because this could be the most epic thing we've ever done on cast.
I think so.
If you have not seen Dio versus Alucard, you should go check that out. Liam did an amazing job. The team did an amazing job putting it together. God, that animation is so cool.
Awesome.
If you have not seen Red versus Blue Family Shatters, there are 3 episodes out now. There's no reason not to go check those out. They're hilarious. You should go watch them. Really good, really fun sitcom style take on Red versus Blue. Unlike any other season, really. Like some of the PSAs, kind of had a similar vibe, but there wasn't like a standard thing for the PSAs. This is an entirely new approach for an entire chunk of the show. And then next week, Akuma versus Shao Khan airs. It's this Sunday for First Members and Monday on YouTube. Please check that out. I'm so excited for that episode. I think that covers everything, right? Man, thank you guys so much for joining us for
this is fun.
This very interesting episode of the Metal Cast. We'll let you know when part 2 of Serial Mascot Battle Royale gets underway, and we will begin the tournament. Keep an eye on our social media for that. And until then, be kind to others, be kind to yourself, be awesome. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Die 1,000 deaths! You dare interrupt my tournament. Another fool seeking my throne. I only seek your life. Go Hadouken!